Timmermans Fromboise.
And remember, life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I've got one here today from Timmermans, who are the oldest lambic brewing brewery in the world. And they have come up with this. This is their Fromboise. And what is Fromboise? Well, firstly, that is a beer that is brewed with raspberries. Now, I should really explain lambics and how that ties in with fruit beers. Lambics are pretty unique to Belgium. They started doing it first. You could argue that there was spontaneous brewing. I'll get onto what that is in a minute. You could argue that that is probably the oldest brewing technique in the world. And basically what happens there is the beer is fermented in open fermentation tanks, and the naturally occurring microorganisms in the air, they will feed on the sugars that are in the mash and will produce alcohol that way. Now, spontaneous fermentation is something that has been perfected in Belgium, and they use it for their lambics. If you've never tried a lambic before, they're not bad, but they're not for everyone. They're very sour. If you're a fan of West Country ciders and that quite tart style flavour, the sour tart style flavour, you're going to like them. I love them. I think they're absolutely great, and I'll never forget the first time I tried a Gers or a Huza, depends however you want to pronounce that if you're in West Flanders. It's a really strange beer because it's like the mad professor who's got hold of the brewing book, thrown it out the window and says, I'm just going to do this my way. Now lambics, of course, are a beer that has become quite popular across Europe, and there are some big lambic brewers who are brewing their wares and selling them. Personally, my favourite lambic style is the Creek beer, which is the cherry style lambics that are available on the market. For me, the best one I've come across is the Old Beer Cells Old Creek, which is really good. But if you can't get hold of that, then Morrison's do the Bacchus stuff, which is available quite widely there, at quite reasonably priced as well, and that's really nice. My missus even likes that, and she asks me to get that every now and again, and she has some. I quite like it as well. It's a pretty good one. That's from the Van Honsenbroek Brewery. The Fromboise, you can get that. I've tried the Fromboise from Bacchus. It's called something else, or it's not from Bacchus, it's from Van Honsenbroek. That's okay. I don't think it's as good as the Creek. I don't think the flavours are as intense, and I found it a little bit too sweet for my palate. Now, I'm a little bit concerned about this in some of the things that are going on. I'll get onto that when I talk about the beer facts in the next section. But the whole spontaneous fermentation style beer is the base for all their fruit beers, or for most lambic brewers, it is the base for their fruit beers. And what they do is they add fruit juices, usually naturally occurring fruit juices from a press, i.e. they would press loads of cherries, Morello cherries, or raspberries in this case. A little bit about Timmermans. They're based in Belgium, obviously in the Flemish Brabant, as it's known, and they've been going since 1702, which is no mean feat, and they are the oldest lambic brewers in the world. Nobody can come up with them. So you'd think this is going to be a good one. Now, I'm going to leave it to the next section. I won't say nothing. I'll leave it to the next section. But one thing that did make me laugh was on their website. It said this beer should be savoured with elegance and finesse. Look at the fucking state of me. Do I look like I've got either of them qualities? Probably not. Don't answer. Let's check this beer out. Right, it's a 330ml bottle, it's 4%. The ingredients are ringing alarm bells. Now, it's got 2 preservatives in here, E300 and E330. Now, what they are is ascorbic acid and citric acid. They're both naturally occurring acids, they occur in fruit, so I'm hoping that's why they've listed them, and it's because that's in there that they've had to list them as preservatives. I'm really hoping they haven't added preservatives in there, which they probably have, knowing them numbers, but yeah, I'm always wary about. I've just tried the Caffrey's and that listed caramel colouring as one of the additives to it, and I really am not a fan of that at all, but that's what they do. But this has got all sorts of stuff in it. This has got raspberries, of course, it's got 10% raspberries in here. It's got elderberries as well. Why they're in there, I don't know. It says flavourings, which is a little bit worrying. Hops it contains. The hops could be anything. It really doesn't count in lambics. They're not. It's not about the hops. It's all about the yeast with a lambic. And to be honest, that's about it really. It says it's got malt in it and stuff like that. It contains sugar too. So this is where the alarm bells come in. I've got a horrible feeling that this is going to taste very artificial, very sweet, almost like a novelty flavoured beer. But let's wait and see. If it's got a little bit of sourness in it, I'll be a little bit happy. If there's no sourness and it's all sweetness, then yeah, I ain't going to be happy. So let's get it open. Let's see what's going on. Right, here's the cap. Nice pink cap. Oh, that don't half smell sweet. Just hold your nose under there. Look at it. That looks like fucking wine to me. You know. Now, one of the things with lambics is they are really, really carbonated. Look at that. It looks like I'm drinking wine, doesn't it? Fuck. Oh, it's just raspberries. There is a little bit of sourness on there though. I'm getting that. But they're just dominated by big raspberry, sweet raspberry flavour. And that sourness is diminishing at a rate of knots. Well, there it is in the glass. It's red with a pink head. I never thought I'd fucking say that, but here we are. Lots of carbonation. 1.5 finger head. Pink head. Fucking hell. That smells really sweet. Right. This could be dog shit or really nice. Wish me luck. Bottoms up. This is really sweet. Really isn't any sourness in that at all. And this could be raspberry-ade. A very refined raspberry-ade. Elegant and refined raspberry-ade. Carbonation levels are there. Oh, but this is just so sweet. Nah. There's just way too much sugar on this. Not really a fan. No, it's too sweet. I feel my teeth rotting as I'm drinking that. Well, and it just remains, sticks to the side of your mouth. It really is like raspberry, if there is such a thing. It's not for me. That's really, really sweet, and I'm not a fan of massively sweet things. That tastes like a novelty beer, or an alco pop even. That is not for me. So what's the verdict on Timmermans Fromboise Lambicus? No, I'm not a fan. Framboise isn't my favourite style anyway to start off with. Van Honsenbroek did a Framboise. I think I've reviewed it on the channel. It's not as nice as the Creek. I much prefer the Creek. It's got more of a intense flavour and a sourness. This hasn't got that at all. This is just pure sweetness. And the addition of the sugar in there as well has just made that even sweeter. And I just don't like it. Some people may like, if you've got a sweet tooth, or your missus likes very sweet things, like my missus does. She's a fucking, she can eat whole cakes in one go. She has her sweet tooth. It just isn't for me. That's a personal thing, and I'm sure they do better Gers. I don't know whether I've tried the Timmermans Gers or not before, but either way, no, I'm not a fan. I'm going to give it 2 out of 10, and as I say, if you like sweet beers, sweet fruity beers, you'll like this. I don't. I think it's just, I can feel my teeth rotting. That's how sweet it is. So yeah, 2 out of 10, not a recommendation from me. And remember, I'm drinking this shit, so you don't have to.